Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to be analysing EU and DXY live price action to see what opportunities may be available today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. So today's a little bit different. We're going to start off on Forex Factory here just so I can highlight the news to everyone. There's just been an announcement for the French flash manufacturing PMI results. In another 15 minutes we've got the German, and then we've just got an overall flash manufacturing PMI. There's unlikely to be any trading this morning, but we're going to analyze anyway. So a lot of PMI results today, so it's kind of doubtful that price is going to give us much in between there in order to execute. At least for me, the downside usually isn't worth trading at the red folder news. So just a heads up there on today for all of these news announcements, especially the red folders obviously, which may get in the way of any executions. So let's get to the charts and analyze it. So starting off on a daily, of course EU's at the top and DXY is at the bottom as usual. So what do we see on the daily? Price is continuing to stay in this discount here, possibly in the lower time frames, showing some sort of range. Yesterday we closed out as another doji with a long leg. It was an inside bar day, right? We had the day before from here to here, and then we just traded within that daily range as well. So an inside bar sort of day. We've got our previous daily high, previous daily low, which is still intact. So price is just taking buy side and sell side liquidity and closing out around the same area. So again, in the discount, after reacting off of this daily imbalance and order block, so price is stalled here and finding some support. The inverse on DXY, prices in the premium has also been ranging. Yesterday we didn't have the inside bar. Looks like we took some buy side liquidity above the previous daily high, which shows some divergence, which we'll see on the lower time frame. So price hasn't moved much today, but that news announcement's just happened. So as you can see, price is starting to move just a little bit. We still have our premium and discount POIs as price draws, and our daily fair value gap that's yet to be fully filled. So let's go down to the 4 hour and see what that looks like. So here we are on the 4 hour. Price reacted from this area where we mitigated this 4 hour POI on Friday. Of course, we had that bearish run from there. Price failed to make a lower low. Okay, so we are kind of running within a range at the moment. Price came from this high here after mitigating this Friday evening, afternoon, came down, bearish, refused to make a lower low, causing this SMC divergence with DXY, so showing some strength on EU. This strength on the higher time frame may indicate that indeed we are going to go and make a higher high, right? Because as I said before, we've made these internal higher highs, breaking above these two highs here, pulled back, making a higher low. We failed to make that higher high, but then obviously during our pullback we failed to make a lower low. So we are between possible weak high or weak low scenario. However, again, we did fail to make that lower low. So price could eventually be coming for these highs to make that higher high. So I hope that wasn't too confusing. I said higher high and higher lows a lot. So that SMC divergence, which has resulted in a sweep of buy side liquidity on DXY, may be enough to sponsor that move down to go for that sell side liquidity, right? Because at least to some sort of sell side liquidity lows around here or here. Because once price takes buy side liquidity, it's going to seek out the opposite end. Now, of course, this bar here is bullish at the moment, and this bar here is still bullish, but that's because this DXY 4 hour chart isn't moving live, so that should look probably more bearish than it is. So we'll see on the 1 hour. So yeah, higher low created, higher high created, which swept buy side liquidity, so we could be heading lower and heading higher in price on the 4 hour. So let's go down to the 1 hour and see what that looks like. So it does look like that news may have gotten price moving again today, which is great because it didn't look that great beforehand, if I'll be honest. So again, as you can see a bit more clearly, the SMC divergence here, which was also a sweep of internal sell side liquidity on EU because we had this previous low. We came down into this imbalance order block again that I mentioned in yesterday's video that we might take. We've now taken out these stacked highs here, so we'll see that properly on the lower time frame. Price looks bullish and it looks good to keep going and at least take this previous daily high buy side liquidity. Of course, there's another news announcement in just a few minutes, so will we be able to trade anything? Of course, that comes into doubt. EU is definitely going for the highs and DXY is definitely going for these lows. So this SMC divergence was obviously an early indicator of this strength here when it refused to make that lower low, which is good. And of course we are still within this range here, but again we failed to make that lower low when we mitigated these highs. So ultimately we may now break up, come in for these highs and create that new higher high and new bullish leg. So I think that's all there is to discuss on the 1 hour. Just briefly on DXY, I think that previous weekly low is a good ultimate target as well as this previous weekly high. Price could take this sell side liquidity, we get a pull back to a 1 hour POI now and continue with our trend possibly. So let's go down to the M15 and see if there's any opportunities available for today. So on the M15, as you can see, I had put this liquidity trend line here because these highs were all equal and stacked. So that's no longer applicable because the news has wiped that out. But I will just convert this line here to an X for buy side liquidity. Now price is moving with a lot of momentum, so I don't believe it's going to stop here and close out as a buy side liquidity sweep above Asia. It looks like it's ultimately just going to take this previous daily high, which is a better source of buy side liquidity, and at the same time we're going to get the sell side liquidity taken from this previous daily low on DXY. So with all this momentum, there's nothing immediate that we can trade on. It's probably not the greatest place to place buys. However, what I will draw out is our possible sell side scenarios, right? So if price is to come, take the buy side liquidity from above these highs, previous daily high, and then break down, break in below a low here or some sort of structure. If it creates structure here, maybe sweeps it again. But I'll do just the simple sweeps to high, breaks down, breaking some sort of structure there. We could then, of course, look for the pullback to the origin of that and trade downwards. Now, this could be a temporary move because obviously we may be having our new bullish trend continuing. However, also we are still within a range of that bullish leg. So price may just range from buy side liquidity back to sell side liquidity for the time being. So I think this will be a good source of that. If I borrow this X, this will be the buy side liquidity swept. Somewhere around here, we would have our break of structure. And there's that news announcement. So like I said, it's going to be very difficult for us to gain a proper bias and trade today. So I'll just move this up here, of course, because it's still applicable. We could have our break of structure somewhere down here. I'll pull back around here. So we're going to have our previous weekly high swept on EU now, whereas the previous weekly low hasn't gone just yet on DXY. So we'll see what happens there. We could take this low and reverse, and then we'd have our inducement there, our order block here, and we'd be looking to trade downwards, right? But like I said, the momentum is all to the bullish side right now. So there's nothing clear at the moment, but we've taken loads of buy side liquidity. We're sweeping this previous weekly high. We've pretty much now going to fill this line here is the daily imbalance. And price may create some sort of structure here, and we get that news pullback to fill these imbalances that it's going to leave behind. So that will be the best scenario I can see for sales at this time being. If we go up to the 1 hour, of course, we're going to leave behind some order blocks down here, right? So we may in fact be able to go long once price comes back down to this new discount, because now we have a bigger range. Our range is no longer from here. Our range is now to this high, to this low. So we have a new discount down here. Once this closes out and another candle closes out, this becomes our order blocks, okay? So now we've got that opposite SMC divergence, at least for the time being, from this high to this high, which is on our side, of course, for the shorts. So we have SMC divergence, we have buy side liquidity swept, and all we're waiting for is structure, or depending on how you enter, obviously, you can be trading this back down to the discount where our 1 hour POI is hit. So now what I would want to see for the longs to go with our new trend, just down here, we're going to want price to come down from wherever it is create that structure, maybe sweep its internal lows, but either way, as long as it holds this 1 hour order block here, and then we break up above this high, break a structure, pull back. Now that may not happen today, but there's a lot of news, so it probably will, or price could continue shooting up, right? So I'll just quickly draw that one out, break a structure, inducement from the pullback, POI, and we'd have our order set to trade up with our new trend, stop just below the low. Now, plenty more news announcements to go. We'll see what happens. So this is the opportunities I see today. I hope you gained value from that. I hope it was clear. As I said, it's quite difficult to do while news is just being released while I'm analyzing, and I may or may not trade today, but these will be the opportunities I'll be looking for. So any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.